The E3 podcast series focuses on various topics around real estate and facilities management. eBiz helps organizations envision the future, enable processes and platforms, and evolve practices for continuous improvement. In this episode, we'll discuss products from the company IDEA and their relationship to Planon and TRIRIGA. I'm your host, Tracy Jefferson, and today I'll be joined by the CEO of IDEA, Wang. John, welcome to the podcast. I really appreciate you joining, and hopefully you get to actually visit in person soon, because it's been, as we were talking about before we started recording, it's been a year.
That's right, Tracy. So it's a great pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me. It's definitely a great honor to be on your podcast. And I have to say, in the past, I've really enjoyed when I had the opportunity to invite you as a speaker to our events, and I always enjoy learning from you. So I will hope I could do as good a job as you did today.
Oh, I'm sure there's no question about that. So before we get into everything, let's talk a little bit about IDEA and tell me more about your company.
Sure. So IDEA is a company I started year 2000. So, wow, it's been 23 years already. It's been a wild ride. And we've been very focused from the beginning to focus on business issues and creating a number of devices, open platform devices, to help businesses address their business operation efficiency, work experience, etc. So some of our more notable products, including a room scheduling panel, which are found in many corporate enterprises for the purpose of putting some order into meeting room scheduling. So these typically are tablet-sized devices with a rim of clearly visible lights, could be red or green, to mark a room as available to use, free to use for use, or busy and taken, that someone has reserved the space and will show up soon. We also do quite a number of products for digital signage, internal corporate communications. So, for example, at reception, we might have large video walls, and we have technology that power these large wall of screens. We also have a smaller format shelf top signage. We also create a couple of kiosk devices. So these could be used for either visitor management to help guests self-check-in at the reception, or they could be used for example, health survey for employees, for contractors as they come into the building. These formats can also be used for wayfinding. We've done some integration with map companies to help visitors find their way around a building, or contractors, etc., to find their place to work. So quite a large variety of devices that we definitely can talk more about today. But I think one thing overall is that we try to provide an open platform with an API. So third-party software applications can easily plug in, because we believe that just to use our hardware, you don't need to throw out your software. Actually, we integrate perfectly with whatever software you choose to power your buildings.
That's interesting. And today everything is about data. It's about information, and it's not just sitting at a computer screen. And that's what's interesting with your product line, is your products are very visible. You can use them to display information about a facility, about availability of rooms. There's so many different applications for that. Can you drill in maybe a little deeper on like your room panels? Yeah. What are some of the use cases you've run into with your users? Because you're a global company, so you have companies all around the world that use your products. And give me what's a use case around room panels, for instance?
So one of the emerging needs around this COVID period is that we've now becoming very familiar with flexible work schedules. Nobody needs to be in the office 5 days a week, 8 hours a day anymore. There is flexibility. You might choose to come in 3 days a week, Some companies require you to be there 4 days a week, and you're free to choose which days to come in. And when you do come into the office, you definitely want to make sure you have the facilities for you to conduct work. For example, if you're in the office for a meeting, you definitely want to make sure there's a meeting room reserved for you. If you're in the office planning to do a hybrid meeting, you want to make sure you have the right equipment to ensure that your Teams or Zoom experience is perfect. And actually, these tablets, some users initially you think of them just as eyes candy, pretty screens to look at outside the room. But actually, these are very effective tools to help enterprises get adaptation for their room reservation system. So I give you one real example. So it's quite, as I said, with this flexible work schedule, it's quite necessary for employees to start using reservation apps. So everyone who needs a space properly reserve one, so you don't come into the office and not able to find a room. And the challenge, a lot of companies take the approach of introducing a software, an employee app that you could use to book the room prior to arriving at the office. And nothing is wrong with that. Everything feels great, except that if there's some of the employees decide not to make a reservation, they go into the office, they look at an empty room, they just decide to take that room and sit down. It's the most natural human behavior. And if that room happens to be reserved by someone, you wouldn't know because there's nothing there to tell you that someone has booked the same space as you're using. So when the person actually booked the room shows up, finding somebody already sitting in the room that he or she reserved, so what's the next reaction? Well, one, he feels frustrated because he made a reservation and someone is in the room. And if he doesn't want to be rude and ask the person to move out, then he will start doing the same behavior and look for the next door room that seems empty and sitting there to do his work. So this sort of a snowball effect reinforces itself negatively. So in the end, employees lose trust in the reservation system. So by simply having a tablet outside of the room, clearly marking the room as reserved or free and available for use, you solve that problem instantly. So we have actual customers that just by introducing a room scheduling panel drives up their adaptation, the usage of the scheduling app, and actually make the room reservation successful. So really, I think a simple, I'll say a visual aid to, as you said, Tracy, to help people understand the data, the information behind the physical space actually helps a lot to put order in the workplace.
Yeah, that's a very interesting use case. So let's talk about another one, signage players. I think there's a lot of variety there of use cases. What are some of the things that you've seen with your signage players? I could think of a few examples myself, but let's hear yours.
Yeah, so definitely, the most obvious is probably just for internal communication. You have an announcement to make, so a screen at the corporate entrance at the lobby, or wherever employees will gather, would easily display these messages. It could be for compliance. It could be just for taking care of the employees. It could be for product announcements, internal communication in general. But we've also seen some more interactive use cases, dynamic uses, presentation of information. For example, there are signs that could show team performance, for example, sales numbers to motivate the sales team. And there could be information integrated with sensors to show occupancy on different floor levels of the floor. So if you want to take a place that's quiet and less occupied, you could easily find a floor to go to. But if you want to find a space where you're going to be more colleagues, you could find a more crowded space in a flexible space environment. So the wayfinding, for example, there were signs in meeting rooms that will dynamically show the topic that are happening in rooms down the alley, down the sidewalk. various applications. Really, it's just up to the imagination of the user.
I could think of a couple of others that I would think of would be good
Yeah,
too. In this day and age, things like security alerts instantly
yeah,
around the building, having
absolutely.
these signage players
Oh
strategically
yeah,
placed for things like security alerts.
oh yeah,
What's the special
yeah.
day in the cafeteria in a larger building, that you could put out? And I
You're
could
absolutely
also
right.
think that you could tie something into like IBM's environmental intelligence suite where I'm pulling out weather alerts or even just current
Ah,
weather and pulling into the signage. It seems like there's a lot of opportunity for information like that.
yeah.
Um,
Storm
you
is
know,
coming. Better leave slightly earlier,
yeah,
right?
I mean it's
Avoid.
almost unlimited what you can do because the world's about information and instantly taking action on information. So the signage players are fascinating.
You're
Now,
absolutely right. Yeah,
eBiz, of course, specializes in implementation of systems like TRIRIGA and Planon.
right, right.
And I'm curious from like a Planon perspective. And what kind of
Hmm.
use cases have you seen specifically with Planon?
Yeah, we have been enjoying the partnership with Planon for past 3, 4 years. So very early on, our systems integrated with them. They also believed in an open platform approach, which allowed our device to integrate easily into their system. So in addition to showing reservation occupancy status of a meeting room with a brightly visible red or green sign, in the Planon implementation, we're also integrating sensor inputs in terms of environment conditions. For example, temperature sensor, so you know whether the room is at the right temperature set, and also air quality. There are CO2 sensor inputs. There are VOC sensor inputs to make sure ensure to the employee that the air in the meeting room is properly filtered. It's a healthy environment for you to conduct business in. And lately, there is even applications where we're integrating screens to allow employees to provide satisfactory feedbacks for, for example, the toilets area,
Right.
the washroom area. If it's clean, if it's dirty, there's immediate feedback for you to signal to the service team to come in and perform service. And actually, there is a work in progress right now with the Planon Solutions team to integrate with the backend ticketing system. So after a meeting, automatically a ticket is generated so the cleaning crew can come in and sanitize the meeting space before the next meeting happens. There's a wider variety of applications that we're just seeing, different demands driven by the users, and us and the Planon team work quite aggressively to provide solutions for them.
I think, their relationship or strategic partnership they have with Schneider too
Oh
comes
yeah,
into play here because I could have signage players that say elevator 4 is out of service. You may need
that's
to
right.
use an alternate path, or there's been a detection of an air conditioning problem on the 5th floor, just so you know things. There's a lot of things you could do with those building sensors that may flow through Planon, or maybe they just flow straight out of like a Schneider technology. But
Yeah,
but I think the two of them together create a lot of opportunity for IDEA and your products.
indeed. So our product has been also used within the larger Schneider scope outside of just the Planon workplace management. So, for example, as you said, integrating with building control systems to adjust temperature, set the right temperature, to see, for example, to watch energy consumption of the building. The light, to control lighting, control HVAC systems through these panels. Really, I mean, the initial vision for us to when we build these devices are really creating human machine interfaces that are just readily available in the environment that you working. So Schneider and Planon are perfect partners for us to be able to deploy complete solutions.
That's really interesting. I'm excited about that relationship and you even their partnership they have with SAP now too. You could even tap into that a little bit about going back to your thing about performance.
Oh yeah.
financial performance of teams and things that perhaps that kind of data comes into play. So there's a lot there, but you also work with IBM TRIRIGA, another eBiz specialty.
Yes.
And
So
what use cases have you seen there?
So we've also enjoyed quite a bit of partnership with IBM from the very early stage. So we've done a few uh, multiple projects with large utilities companies, government buildings, for example. And the primary application is in room reservation, but we have also integrated wayfinding, which is part of the TRIRIGA offering into our larger format displays. So in addition to being able to see room booking status when you arrive in front of the room, you can actually know which room, the room availability by looking at the overall overview map at the entrance of the building space. And then from the map, it will provide guidance to guide you towards the available room that you could easily arrive go to without wasting time searching for rooms. So that's just one simple application. And I think what TRIRIGA has done in the past is that they've also integrated implementations have also integrated data from these room reservation systems to figure out what types of rooms are in high demand. For example, you could have these screens or panels placed outside of smaller 2 to 4 people huddle spaces, or outside of larger 10 people boardroom type meeting rooms. And the data from reservation from actual usage provide quite effective guides on what kind of space is actually in high demand for this particular set of employees. So this region of the of the city, for example. So that becomes insights, becomes data that would drive during the next renovation phase on the kind of space to allocate based on actual usage data. So the integration with TRIRIGA has been quite creative, I will say.
It's very interesting. Planon and TRIRIGA are both in their own rights extremely successful, and they're top-rated products. So it's interesting to hear the use cases between
Yeah,
the two.
we really feel very privileged to work with these partners. So we always highly recommend of these the software solutions to our clients as well. Whenever they have a recommendation, I would say these platforms are probably one of the most trustworthy and dependable and scalable platforms that we have implemented in the past.
So, John, I know you go around the world, your team does. Where are you going to be the next year? Where are places that people might actually see your products in action, and places that hopefully eBiz will be working with you too as a partner, and where are we going to meet next?
Yeah, we certainly love to continue to work with eBiz as we have done in the past. So we just completed a very successful event at ISE in Barcelona, where it's a professional audiovisual show, but in that space there's a lot of it's an intersection between unified communication and space management, and people there care a lot about the people are attending the show are pretty much technologists, but they also want to find the right solution for them to address human issues in the workplace to improve workplace experience. And this year we're going to be at a few regular events, so we're definitely going to be joining a couple of the IFMA events. So we also enjoy the partnership with IFMA as we have done in the past. So there I think for facilities managers, these are great events for them to understand what technology can help them in the workplace. We're also going to be at the Infocom show, which is the American version of ISE, of Integrated Systems Europe, where again technologists would be there to understand the needs from the workplace side. I would say also one thing that we found quite interesting was I was sitting on the panel for this session at Integrated Systems Europe. Within the show, they had a smaller format. It's called the Smart Workplace Summit. And here is I think for the first time, they're getting people who are genuinely interested in bringing technology to improve workplace environments into this smaller, more concentrated session of events. And during the panel discussion, we had a live poll with the audience, and the audience was asked to vote on the most interesting technology area that they want to explore more. And of course, one of them was AI, because these days you cannot talk about technology without touching on AI. But surprisingly, space management technology actually got more votes than AI at that event. I think just in general, people want to understand more about what technologies are available to address all the issues we're finding in the smart workplace today, which is exactly what your podcast is going to offer so much help for people looking for answers. So yeah, pretty much those are the events that we have planned, but we also will be at a few partner events. TRIRIGA, Planon will typically at their partner events, either virtually or present in person. Definitely look forward to meeting your audience there.
Awesome. So what about the future, John? There's a lot of technology change. You've mentioned AI. We know there's changes in how corporate real estate in particular is really transitioning, the hybrid workplace, and getting the most out of your space and determining what space you want to have and everything. All these things are changing in flux. So 2025 and beyond, what kind of things do you see IDEA doing?
Yeah, we're doing quite a number of exciting stuff. So I think in the nearer term, I could definitely talk more in detail. So this year, we're already introducing a number of new devices. So there is a new desk booking sign. So it works in a similar way to a room booking sign, except that since you're targeting to manage flexible desks, hot desking, the device needs to be more nimble. So we made them with e-paper technology. So you could actually deploy them without pulling any wires. So these are just small screens that you stick onto a workspace. It will show whether the workspace is reserved or available for use. And when you check into that space, it'll show your name next to your desk as well. We're also creating a new device. So this is coming in middle of the year. So we took a look at the technologies that are deployed inside workspaces, and we found a lot of companies are now deploying USB docks. So these are hubs that will connect all the peripherals on the desk. And when an employee arrives, he or she was just plugging a USB cable to his or her laptop and get work started. So very efficient at connecting all the peripheral at the desk. But what we're doing different is that we're adding a small screen to that dock, making it a smart dock. And this dock will allow people to reserve that workspace, same way that you will reserve a meeting room. And this can actually serve a few purposes. For example, if you have workstations that have specialized equipment that are rare to find and that need to be shared among people. For example, you might have design workstations with large 8K resolution displays. These devices will help make it easy for you to find desks with the specific requirement that you need and allow you to book them before you even arrive at the office. So when a designer goes into the office, he or she will be certain that they will have the right equipment for them to use. Same thing if you're there looking for a small space to do your online meeting with customers. You could specify a workspace with a proper audiovisual speakerphone setup, so you could comfortably do your Teams and Zoom meetings. So again, tying space management with the technology that connects all the computing devices on the desktop. These are some of the things that we're just introducing this year. But I think going forward, what we find exciting is that there's a lot of new ways people are conducting meetings. So most of meeting, I think, compared to before COVID, I would say there's a dramatic increase in the number of hybrid meetings these days. So most of meetings happen when you have very few number of people at the same physical location, but many on the remote side. So we see a lot of demand for technologies that make this meeting experience really smooth and efficient. So we're again combining our reservation technology with some of the meeting technologies. We're combining them, creating all-in-one devices that allow people to easily reserve the space, reserve the equipment they need to use, and also come in and quickly set up a meeting and just get ready to go. So yeah, we'll be unveiling them towards the end of the year, ready for launch next year.
Fantastic. I know I'm looking forward to it. Our team is looking forward to the chance to take some of these new products and tie into Planon, TRIRIGA, and help those systems have intelligent information and present information back to the users too. So it's going to be an exciting time, and I really appreciate you taking time out of I know a very busy schedule to chat with me, and hopefully we get to sit in person together soon and do some presenting together.
Yeah, this is absolutely a pleasure, Tracy, once again for having me here. And likewise, I mean, when we introduce any of these new technologies, we'll make sure TRIRIGA, Planon, and these partner technologies will work seamlessly when the devices are deployed out in the field. I think it's a commitment that we have for all the partners that we embrace and we enjoy. So I hope eBiz will continue to find us helpful in solving your workplace needs.